Hello, friends. We're back today with a radio video. We're going to go over, why it's important to have a radio. What are the benefits of having a radio? What kind of radio do I have, and what I recommend? Which there's a lot. I'm more of a budget-friendly guy. I don't have these $300, $400, $500 radios. These here aren't even $100. They're around $80 to $75. Probably a little bit more for me because I bought the big battery pack that went with them. Without further ado, let's get into it. So this here is a Baofeng DM32UV. It's a very good radio, works very well. You don't have to have this exact antenna on here. This antenna came with the kit. It is flexible and flimsy, as you can see here. It doesn't hurt it or anything to bend. I'm actually looking into antennas right now. I'd like to get one that is more, I guess, like flimsy, you could say. If my sling got caught onto this for any reason, or my backpack got caught on it, it wouldn't hurt it or anything like that, but it might get snagged on it. It could cause some issues when it's on my chest rig, or when it's on my backpack or whatever. It could cause some issues. So it's not, I wouldn't say this antenna is the greatest, but it's better than the factory one that comes. That's just it's like a hard plastic that sticks straight up. It doesn't really bend a whole lot. This gives you some vulnerability, some maneuverability, and apparently it's supposed to give a better signal strength. So I've compared the two from the stock one and this one that came in the kit. Not a big difference. I haven't done thorough testing, like really thorough testing, but we went up to 10 miles and I got a signal, but it wasn't very good. That also could depend on, how radios work. You need to have a higher elevation. Um, like if you're open in a big field is really good. If you're in a dense wooded area, obviously you're not going to get as much communication because of the dense forest, or if you're like in a city where there's a lot of tall buildings obstructing the frequency for the radios to communicate. But also this radio is extremely good. It's analog and it's digital. So for you radio guys out there that know a lot more than just a standard user, that make your ears perk up a little bit. Like I said, this radio was only $70 to $80. I think I paid $86 and everything from Amazon. But I got a whole kit, like an earpiece, a couple antennas, the bigger battery, so a couple other things. But just a regular radio with the regular stock battery is probably, I'd tell you, maybe $65 if I had to guess. But it is a Baofeng DM32UV. So a couple reasons on why you should have these radios. A couple good reasons why is, your family, right? The grid goes down, okay? We live in such a technology world that when there's no communicate, we're so used to communicating all the time through devices, and that if the grid was to go down, or cell phone services for whatever reason went down and we weren't able to communicate anymore, we would rely on radios. It would kind of help a lot with people with panicking and worrying and things in that nature. But a bigger aspect for that would be how to stay in communication with your family, just in case if a natural disaster came through, right? You guys think about it. If you can radio up and network with your neighbors and things, if something happened, a big tornado, a big flood of any kind, wiped out your whole area, depending on where you live at, being able to communicate with your radio, with your relatives and with your neighbors, would be super viable. You could radio out, hey, I need some help. I our house collapsed, and my husband's stuck underneath there and I can't get him out, from the tornado or whatever, whatever natural disaster might have occurred. But also on another flip side of that, if there was some type of civil unrest and you guys have to flee the area, you got some angry rioting mob, like we had in the cities with all those riots, people just going down, terrorizing and tearing things apart, and you got to take your family and get out of there. You want to be able to communicate with your family to, hey, you need to go run across that street and wait for me. I'll radio in when it's okay, for you to come back over, or just being able to, choreograph some type of movement with your family, and in your unit that you have, maybe a team of guys, or gals, however your team is outfitted. But you want to be able to communicate with each other and not have to have each other right beside each other to communicate. If you have to split up for whatever reason, somebody got hurt, take this radio, and I'll radio in with you, making sure you're okay while I go get help, so I can still talk to you or whatever. There's many reasons why you could come up with, and I'm sure that you can, watching this video, you might come up with some very valuable reasons of your own, much more important or valuable, or in the comments, share it. Let me know, and let the watchers and listeners know that, hey, here's some good ideas on what to do with the radio, how to communicate, and it's good to keep us all networked together. So just with that in mind, here's another case. It's different than this one. This one is from tacticalgear.com. It's like a $15 one. The reason why I chose this one is because it actually fits very well. The radio fits in there very snug and very good. There's just some advantages to it and some disadvantages to it, obviously. The front face doesn't cover the whole entire radio, so it might get snagged on. I mean, it's not the best thing ever, but it's not a $60 pouch either. So then I got this one here. It's different. Covers up the whole radio all together. Fits in there nice and good. Also, you could actually put mags in there. It's not really made for mags, but magazines from ARs will fit in there. So if it's an extra pouch just in case if your radio gets damaged in your kit and you need to throw it out and use it as a mag carrier, or whatever the purpose. A flashlight could go in there, or whatever utensil you have, right? A tourniquet, whatever. But it's also, I think I paid $10 for it on Amazon. Again, it's actually really feels good and rugged. I mean, for the price, I mean, you really can't beat that. As far as like the durability, it feels pretty good. I'm sure there's better ones out there, but like I said, for a budget guy like me that doesn't have a lot of money, I work with what I got. So we'll end it on that note, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.